Tensions between the United States and Iran are absolutely at a breaking point, and honestly, the rest of the world is just holding its breath. This whole crisis, and it is a crisis, hinges on control over one single vital waterway, and both sides are trading some incredibly explosive threats. So we're going to break down exactly how we got here and what could happen next.
You know, to really grasp just how intense this whole thing is, you just have to look at the language being used. This quote, which our sources say comes from a social media post by Donald Trump, just shreds the diplomatic playbook. I mean, this isn't some quiet backroom negotiation. This is a public, high-stakes shouting match that really sets the stage for everything else that's happening.
So the epicenter of this entire conflict, it's the Strait of Hormuz. It's this incredibly narrow channel, and it's one of the most critical choke points on the entire planet. Think of it like the world's economic jugular vein. A massive chunk of the world's oil has to flow through this one single spot. So whoever controls this strait, they have immense leverage over the global economy. Period.
Now, with the whole global economy hanging in the balance, you'd think there would be non-stop diplomatic efforts to cool things down, right? Well, our sources are telling us the exact opposite is happening. We are witnessing a complete and total diplomatic breakdown. The real question is, why have the talks failed so spectacularly?
So why the radio silence? What's the holdup? Well, according to our sources, it's because the two sides can't even agree on the terms to begin a conversation. Iran has apparently laid out a whole series of non-negotiable conditions that absolutely have to be met before their diplomats will even walk into the room.
And this slide right here really just lays out the massive disconnect perfectly. The U.S., from what our sources report, is trying to slap a 45-day Band-Aid on a gaping wound. You know, just enough to get the strait open and maybe de-escalate for a little while. But Iran? They're not interested in temporary fixes. They're on the other side of the canyon, and they're demanding a permanent bridge be built in the form of a huge security deal.
So what does this permanent deal that Iran wants actually look like? Well, these are their non-negotiable pillars, according to our sources. First up, full financial reparations. Second, rock-solid long-term security guarantees, not just for Iran, but for its allies in the region too. Third, they get to keep their advanced missile and drone programs. And finally, the big one, they maintain permanent control over the Strait of Hormuz. For Iran, this isn't just a wish list, it's the price of admission to even start talking.
And don't think this is just a standoff with the U.S. Our sources are reporting that major regional powers, we're talking Turkey, Egypt, and Pakistan, have all tried to step in and play mediator. And Iran's answer to all of them has been a firm no. It just goes to show how dug in they really are on this.
So when diplomacy fails and a critical global artery gets clogged, like this, the fallout is immediate. And the very first shockwave, as you'd expect, hit the global markets, triggering some serious turmoil and widespread economic pain.
And here's the number that hits everyone right in the wallet. Our sources report that as soon as the news broke that talks had failed, oil prices just surged past $115 a barrel. That is a massive shock to the system, and it means higher costs for literally everyone, from the gas you put in your car to the food you buy at the grocery store.
And believe me, the pain didn't stop at the gas pump. All this uncertainty sent shockwaves through the entire financial world. I mean, just look at this chart. The major stock indices, the S&P, the NASDAQ, the Dow, they all took a nosedive. That's erasing value and basically sending investors a giant warning sign that panic is setting in.
This crisis is also being fought online, which is a whole other battlefield. This message, which our source pulled from an Iranian social media account, is way more than just a threat. It's a calculated move. It's a direct command to traders to drive up oil prices and dump stocks. They're literally weaponizing market panic itself.
But this is not just a crisis of economics and diplomacy. According to our sources, this has escalated into an active military conflict. We're talking both sides trading fire. So here's what's being reported from the ground.
The reports describe this really dangerous tit-for-tat exchange. Sources are claiming that joint U.S.-Israeli airstrikes have hit targets right in central Tehran. Iran is then said to have responded by launching ballistic missiles toward Israel. And then, right in the middle of all this chaos, a super high-stakes American rescue operation was reportedly launched deep inside enemy territory.
And this one operation, it shows you the brutal cost of this conflict. According to our sources, an American F-15E crew member went down, triggering a massive Special Forces rescue. Now, the mission was a success that got the crew member out, but that success came at an incredibly steep price. We're talking reports of multiple C-130s and advanced Reaper drones destroyed just in that one effort.
And here's what that steep price looks like in actual dollars.
Our sources estimate the value of the U.S. aircraft lost in that single rescue mission is over $500 million. That is a staggering amount of money, and it just underscores the immense cost of every single engagement in this conflict.
Okay, so alongside the military and economic battles, there is an intense war of words going on, and the public statements coming from all sides are just as explosive as what's happening on the ground. So on the American side, our source attributes this stark ultimatum to Donald Trump. The message could not be clearer. Make a deal or face total devastation. Rhetoric like this, it just paints both sides into a corner, leaving almost no room for a diplomatic off-ramp.
And in response, Iran has its own very clearly defined doctrine. Their foreign ministry spokesperson, as our source shows, calls it a policy of reciprocating attack. Basically, it means if our infrastructure gets hit, we will target similar American-related infrastructure. You hit us, we hit you. It's a stated policy of symmetrical response.
And yet, far away from the battlefields and the political threats, our source also highlights a voice calling for the exact opposite. This quote from Pope Leo XIV's Easter address is such a stark and powerful contrast. It's a plea for peace in a world that seems to be marching straight toward war. So let's just recap where we are right now. Diplomacy is completely deadlocked, blocked by Iran's non-negotiable demands. The global economy is reeling. On the ground, the conflict is escalating and proving to be incredibly costly. And in public, the rhetoric from both sides has reached an absolute fever pitch, pushing the world closer and closer to a major confrontation. And that just leaves us with the critical question, doesn't it? When one side flat out refuses to talk unless its demands are met, and the other side is threatening total destruction, where is the off-ramp? What does a path toward de-escalation even look like at this point?